I am Professor Zahi Hawass, the most famous Egyptologist on the planet in the 20th century and for the decades and centuries to come. I also had many discoveries in relation to the history of the ancient Egyptians. May I know who are you, and why are here?
I am Bakar, the most famous and loved Egyptian cartoon character. I started my show much earlier than Al-Dayasti Samir and Al-Kapitan Azuz. Dr. Mona Abu al-Nasser, the great cartoon videos director, may God rest her soul in peace, has innovated my character. As to your question about why I am here, it is because I am interested in the history of my grandfathers and grandmothers. Secondly, because I am fond of your personality and your discoveries. And finally, because I am from the old Tiba, the capital of Egypt in the ancient time.
Ya Bakar, all kids and adults know you and love you too much, but I am asking you about your specialty. What do you work for?
I am a senior accountant specializing in investment in equity securities and debt securities in a conglomerate.
There are 3 hours left until I go to the international press conference to announce for a new discovery. Because I am interested in entering the field of investment in the capital market, may I ask you some technical questions?
I am ready to answer all your questions when you give me free tickets to visit the Egyptian museums my lifetime.
Although, it is too long period, but I agree because you will benefit Egypt by your knowledge. My first question, what equity security is?
An equity security is an ownership interest in an entity, for example common stock or preferred stock, or the right to acquire or dispose of such an interest, for example warrants or call options. In this regard, please note the convertible debt securities are not equity securities in the issuer.
Okay, what warrants and call options are?
Warrants and call options are contracts that give an investor the right, but not obligation, to buy certain number of shares of a security at a specific price at a later time. The investor is banking on the price of a security to go up, thereby making a profit on shares by being able to buy them later at a lower price. The price at which the underlying security can be bought is referred to as the exercise price.
I understand that an investor in warrants and call options is not at a loss exposure because the buyer is not obligated to actually buy those shares if the price did not go up as it thought it would. Is that correct?
Not exactly. Because a buyer still paid premium, a buyer will still be at loss of whatever the cost of premium was if a buyer doesn't exercise the right to buy those shares.
In fact, I should have asked you about the difference between warrants and call options.
There are 3 differences between warrant and call options as follows. 1. Warrants are generally issued by the company itself, not by a third party. When an investor exercises their warrants, they receive newly issued stock other than already outstanding stock. Call options are issued by an exchange such as Chicago Board Options Exchange in the US or the Montreal Exchange in Canada. 2. Warrants tend to have much longer periods between issue and expiration than options, of years rather than months. 3. Warrants are dilutive and call options are not.
How accounting method is selected for an investment in voting stock?
Voting stock are usually the common stock. The selection of an accounting method for an investment in voting stock depends on the presumed influence that the investor has on the investee. The presumed influence is usually determined based on the ownership interest held.
I understand that the percentage of ownership is divided into strata, and each strata indicates the degree of the presumed influence upon which the accounting method is selected. Is that correct, Bakar?
You are absolutely correct, Professor Hawass. There are 3 degrees of the presumed influence over investee. 1. Control. 2. Significant influence. And 3. Little or none. If the ownership is 100%, the presumed influence is control, and the accounting method is the consolidation. If the ownership is 50%, the presumed influence is significant influence, and the accounting method is the equity method or the fair value option. If the ownership is 20%, the presumed influence is little or none, and the accounting method is the fair value measurement.
Ya Bakar, now I should be prepared for the conference. We will be meeting again soon. Thank you.